Well, I think the most important thing to understand about Vice President Harris, if she's elected, is that she has been in the room receiving intelligence briefings, participating in policy talks for the past 4 years. She has been by President Biden's side and has been involved in every major decision. And so she's familiar with the Biden administration's approach, and I expect that she would broadly continue the Biden administration's approach to Taiwan as well as to the Asia-Pacific region. And the view of the Biden administration and a potential Harris administration would very much be centered on alliances, partnerships, and building a dense network of relationships among and within friends and allies to try to maintain stability in Asia and in the Taiwan Strait, and maintain open access to the global commons, to make sure that no country dominates Asia at the region's expense. And so those would be the broad tenets that I would expect the Harris administration to pursue should she be elected. I think that Governor Walz views Taiwan, views China as someone who has had direct interaction with human beings in Taiwan and China would. In other words, he sees the human faces, understands the human lives that are impacted by these geopolitical events and the stresses that they create. And so I don't think that he would fall to ideology or abstractions to understand developments. I think he would really want to understand how events impact human beings in China and in Taiwan. In the case of China, he has been very clear and consistent and outspoken that he thinks that the government has ill-served its own people in China, and that the Chinese people deserve better governance, better leadership from their government. That's a bold, brave, I think honest expression on his part. And what I think that would mean in the case of Taiwan is that the people of Taiwan deserve to have their voice heard too. They deserve to have their dignity honored, and they deserve to have respect in the international system. And so I expect that if Governor Walz becomes Vice President Walz, that's the approach, the frame, the mindset that he would bring into the role. Senator Vance believes that Ukraine is a problem for Europe to manage, and that European countries should do more to protect and promote security in Europe. But I think it also reflects a concern that he has about stability and peace in the Taiwan Strait, and his view that this is primarily a security issue, and that more power in the way of China's ambitions will curb China from wanting to take aggressive actions against Taiwan. The challenge that I see with the senator's views is that if Russia is to succeed in Ukraine, it would be a geopolitical catastrophe for the United States. It would embolden China and endanger Taiwan. And so I actually understand the logic of Senator Vance's views. I just don't agree with them. Well, I think broadly speaking, President Trump is fairly transactional. I think that even President Trump's closest supporters would acknowledge that. I think that President Trump likes things that are measurable. So the trade balance is something that can be measured. It's something where he can show that he himself is making progress. Military spending is something that can be measured, and he likely would put pressure on Taiwan to increase significantly its spending on its own defense. So that's one difference, is that he just focuses much more on measurable factors than other leaders might. The other is that President Trump, when he was in power, he spent a lot of time thinking about Taiwan in the context of U.S.-China competition, as opposed to thinking of Taiwan, as 23 million people living in a society that is democratic and vibrant and free. I think that President Trump had advisors who cared deeply about Taiwan and worked tirelessly to try to support the people of Taiwan. And I commend people like Ivan Kanapathy and Matt Pottinger and others' efforts to show their support for Taiwan. But they did so without trying to draw a lot of attention to their efforts, because they didn't want to attract President Trump's attention. And so that concerns me, because it suggests that President Trump himself may not be as enthusiastic as perhaps some of his advisors in his first term were in their support for Taiwan.